Ladies and gentlemen, we have just arrived at our learning destination. On behalf of my team, I would like to say that have fun in learning. The Sumerians wrote on clay tablets using wedge-shaped red styluses, and their writing system was called cuneiform, meaning wedge-shaped. In its earliest interaction, cuneiform was made up of symbols called glyphs that were representation of image, that they were not based on sound initial. Hieroglyphic writing system that employs characters in form of pictures. Those individual signs, called hieroglyphs, may be read either as pictures, as symbols for objects, or even as a symbol of sound. The term auricle bone refers to scapulae or shoulder blade bones and tortoises shell used by Shang rulers for divination. Auricle bones were said to offer a conduit to the spirit of royal ancestors, legendary figures from the past, nature deities, and other powerful spirits. Shang kings asked about natural events, illnesses, dreams, and forecasts for hunting and military endeavors. The papyrus produced in Egypt was used for many purposes, but none more important than its function as a writing material. Occasionally, individual sheets were sold for the purpose of record keeping and list, but the majority of these sheets were fashioned and sold as scroll. 10 to 20 sheets would be glued together for a form of long sheet and rolled into a scroll. Often around a wooden stick, this form of papyrus dominated not only in Egypt but was shipped in mass quantities to Europe, in Rome, and in Greece. The papyrus scroll became a culturally ingrained standard. Dynasty, the variant of seal script used in the state of Qin eventually became comparatively standards and was adopted as a formal script across all China during the Qin dynasty. In 100 AD, they are known for widely used for decorative engraving in seals during the Han Dynasty. A codex is essentially an ancient book consisting one or more quires of sheets of papyrus or parchment folded together to form a group of leaves or pages. Woodblock printing or block printing is a technique for printing text, images, or patterns used widely throughout East Asia and originating in China in antiquity as a method of printing on textile and later on paper. Each page or image is created by curving a wooden block to leave only some areas and lines at the original level. It is this that they are inked and showed in the print in a relief printing process. Carving the block is skilled and laborious work, but a large number of impressions can be then printed. Johannes Gutenberg was a German blacksmith and inventor who developed the world's first mechanical movable type printing press. Regarded as a milestone in the modern human history, the printing press played a key role in the advancement of Renaissance, the Protestant Reformation, and the Age of Enlightenment, making knowledge contained in books and literature affordable and reality available for the first time. Gutenberg press was used to create one of the Western world's first and most famous book, the Gutenberg Bible, also known as the 42-line Bible. Samuel Johnson's dictionary, a comprehensive and systematic approach to defining English words, completed 1,755 words. Dictionary's impact standardized vocabulary and spelling, established language norms, and created a framework for future dictionaries. An arc lamp or arc light is a lamp that produces light by an electronic arc. The carbon arc light, which consists of an arc between carbon electrodes and air, invented by Humphrey Davy in the first decades of 1800s, was the first practical electric light. The optical illusion that occurs when the visual perception of an object does not cease for some times after the rays of light proceeding from it have ceased to enter the eye. John Vincent Atanoff is known as the father of computer. With the help of one of his students, Clifford E. Barry, in Iowa State College during 1940s, he created ABC, that was the first electronic digital computer. Augusta Ada Lovelace is known as the first computer programmer, and since 2009, she had been recognized annually on October 15th to highlight the often overlooked contributions of women to science and mathematics. Information by making and breaking an electrical connection. It is most associated with sending electrical current pulses along with the wire with Morse code encoding. In October of 1878, a Scientific American published this series of pictures, with instructions to view them through zoetrope. Muybridge then mounted these individuals' images on a rotating disc and projected them on a screen through an image lantern, producing a moving picture. The Dewey Decimal Classification, colloquially known as the Dewey Decimal System, is a proprietary library classification system which allows new books to be added to a library in their appropriate location based on subject. It was first published in the United States by Melvin Dewey in 1872. The first major breakthrough with high-speed cameras was in 1878. Edward Muybridge, a British expert and photographer living in California, was commissioned to use photograph to determine whether a horse lifted all four hooves off the ground when galloping. At the Copenhagen Telegraph Company in 1898, Danish inventor Valdemar Poulsen recorded his voice by feeding a telephone microphone signal to an electromagnetic that he moved along the steel piano wire. George Méliès, a magician turned filmmaker, introduced innovative special effects in the first real science fiction film, La Voyage d'un Lalone, in 1902, aka A Trip to the Moon.
On October 20, 1906, Lee De Forest announced his invention, a triode called Odeon, at a meeting despite having invented the first triode, which served as an amplifying device that changed the face of the broadcasting industry. De Forest was plagued by many failures. A triode is an electronic amplifying vacuum tube consisting of three electrodes inside an evacuated glass envelope. A heated filament or cathode television camera tube was invented by Zworykin. In 1923, Vladimir Zworykin of SightLink, a Russian immigrant to the United States working at Westinghouse of SightLink Laboratories in Pittsburgh, patented the iconoscope of SightLink, the first electronic television camera. The first practical sound movie. A sound film is a motion picture with synchronized sound, or sound technologically coupled to image, as opposed to a silent film. The first feature film, originally presented as a talkie, although it had only limited sound sequency, was The Jazz Singer, which premiered on October 6, 1926. Vannevar Bush foresaw the invention of hypertext. Hyperlink is a software system allowing extensive cross-referencing between related sections of text and associated graphical material. Vannevar Bush is normally considered the grandfather of hypertext, since he proposed a system we would now describe a hypertext system as long ago as 1945. ENIAC computer was developed. ENIAC, or the Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, was the world's first general-purpose computer. ENIAC was designed and built for the United States Army to calculate artillery firing tables. However, it was ENIAC's power and general-purpose programmability that excited the public's imagination. Birth of field of information theory proposed by Claude Shannon. Information theory is the scientific study of the quantification, storage, and communication of digital information. The field was fundamentally established by the works of Harry Nyquist and Ralph Hartley in the 1920s and Claude Shannon in the 1940s. Planar transistor was developed by Jean Horney. On December 1, 1957, physicist Jean Horney conceived the planar process, a technique used to manufacture essentially all silicon transistors and microchips today.
Jack Kilby, began his career at Texas Instrument in 1958, where he went on to invent the arguable the most important invention in 20th century, the integrated circuit, also known as a microchip. The integrated circuit allowed for the miniaturization of electronic devices, which make most of our modern consumer electronic devices possible.
Library Congress developed LC Mark or Machine Readable Code. The Library of Congress developed Mark in the 1960s. Their intent was to create a computer readable format that could be used for bibliographic records, enabling libraries to download cataloging, share information, and search all parts of a cataloging record. Libraries had shared cataloging before Mark was developed through union catalogs, usually in book or microfilm form. Operating system which could handle multitasking. Unix or Unix Information Computing System is a multi-user, multitasking operating system that was developed by Bell Laboratories in 1969. In a multi-user system, many users can use the system simultaneously. The Intel 4004 is a 4-bit central processing unit released by Intel Corporation in 1971. Sold for $60, it was the first commercially produced microprocessor and the first in a long optical laser disc was developed by Philips and MCA. The laser disc or LD is a home video format and the first commercial optical disc storage media. The first personal computer for the public. The MIT's Altair 8800 was the first commercially successful personal computer, created by Ed Roberts in 1974. It was purchased by the thousands via mail order, proving there was a huge demand for computers outside universities and large corporations. According to the magazine, the machine sold as a kit for $395 and assembled for $498.
The MIT's Altair 8800 was the first commercially successful personal computer created by Ed Roberts in 1974. It was purchased by the thousands via email order, providing there was a huge demand for computer outside the universities and large corporations. According to the magazine, the machine sold as the kit of $395 and assembled for $498.
Radio Shack introduced the first complete computer. Introduced in August 1977 by the retail electronics chain Radio Shack, the TRS-80 was the first complete, pre-assembled small computer system on the market. Apple Macintosh computer was introduced. The first Mac was released in 1984 under the name Macintosh and was advertised with Apple's now famous 1984. The Mac has undergone 4 major transitions from Motorola 68,000 to PowerPC processors, from classic Mac OS to Mac OS X, from PowerPC to Intel 86 processors, and from Intel to Apple Silicon processors. HyperCard was developed by Bill Atkinson Recipe Box Metaphor. HyperCard is a set of tools used for creating software applications. HyperCard was developed by Bill Atkinson and gifted to Apple on the basis that Apple would release it for free use on all Macintoshes. It was initially released in August 1987. It immediately became a huge success and was used in many ways by many people, many of whom began programming for the first time. 450 complete works of literature in one CD-ROM. CD-ROM is an adaptation of the CD that is designed to store computer data in the form of text and graphics, as well as hi-fi
encryption
stereo
and network
sound.
security software, Internet secure code cracked for 48-bit number. In computer architecture, 48-bit integers can represent 281, 474, 976, 710, 656 discrete values. This allows an unassigned binary integer range of 0 through 281, 474, 976, 710, 655, or assigned to two's complement range of 140, 737, 488, 355, 328 through
140, 737, 488, 355, 327. Evolution of man and information. As man evolved, information and its dissemination has also evolved in many ways. Eventually, we no longer kept them to ourselves. Instead, we shared them and managed them in different means. Information got ahead of us. It started to grow at a rate we were unprepared to handle.